everybody. Welcome to the Otherz podcast. I'm your host, Steve Penny. Joining me as always, my man Rafa. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Very good, thank you. I guess this is our Christmas episode.
Yes.
I think we were meant to record this a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something. We never had the chance because of scheduling issues. So we're recording this on the 19th of December, so less than a week before Christmas.
Yeah, man.
Are you all prepared?
Yeah, I guess.
You've written your list and sent it to Santa Claus?
Yes, man. I want sneakers as always.
I knew that would be on there, yes.
Yeah. Every time there's someone ask me, "Oh, what do you want for Christmas or for a birthday gift?" Oh, you don't need sneakers, right? But yes, I don't need it, but I still want it. Like, just give me.
Yes. And if you can't pick a nice pair, just give me a voucher and I will pick a nice pair. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't worry. I will be happy always. How about you?
Yeah, we're ready for Christmas. I don't think I'll be receiving any sneakers because I've bought quite a few pairs in the last few months. I'm giving some pairs. There's some people that
Nice.
will receive sneakers. Hopefully they don't listen to this before Christmas and it ruins the surprise. But yeah, I'll be giving some and we're prepared. And yeah, we're going to have a nice Christmas at home and then traveling to Berlin for the new year for a few days.
Nice.
So it's going to be a nice chilled one. And then yeah, a few days in Berlin to probably do lots of walking and work off the Christmas food and stuff like that.
Nice, man. Nice plans.
All right, so let's do this week's track. This was a surprise when you suggested this one because I don't know if this was on our list or not on the spreadsheet that we keep, but you threw this one out there and
No, sorry, it was. It
oh,
was.
was it?
I I
Okay.
I, I was I always respect it. I
Respect the
mean,
list.
sorry. I always try to respect it.
You're showing some respect. That's enough.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think I chucked a load of random stuff on there at some point, and this was obviously one of the tracks on there. But you picked it, and I was like, where has he picked that from? That's a random one to do. But it is 2007's track from Jay-Z from the album American Gangster. I Know.
Yes.
Now, this surprised me because neither of them are actually in the video, which I didn't even remember until I rewatched it again recently. But I would have thought if you were going to pick something from that album, it would have been like Blue Magic,
Yeah.
because that does feature both of them, I think, doesn't it? If I remember rightly.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and actually, like, Blue Magic, it is on the list. But when I saw the both tracks, I was like, oh man, I gotta go with I Know because I prefer that song over Blue Magic
Really?
any day. Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have been see, I Know is one of those ones where I've never really held it in high esteem. Like it's always been like an okay track, but one of those I might sometimes skip if I'm not in the mood to like listen to it. Now, Blue Magic I haven't listened to in quite a while, to be perfectly honest. But from what I can recall, I would have preferred. I generally used to prefer Blue Magic over I Know. But having listened to I Know quite a few times over the last week or so to watch the video, put the notes together and stuff like that, it's definitely grown on me.
Yeah, nice.
I'm not
Long
saying
overdue.
it's one. Yeah, I'm not saying it's moved up into like my top 10 or anything, or one of my favorites. But not that I thought it was a bad track, but it's not as bad as or not as average as I thought it might have been. Now that I've given
Yeah.
it a few more listens.
No, even listen to you say that it was a random pick because for me it's like it's kind of obvious for me if I have to rank like Pharrell and Jay-Z collaboration, I think I Know will be like in my top five because uh, when I became a Jay-Z fan was in the Black Album, and then he retired, and then he came back with Kingdom Come. It was like one of his worst albums. It's good, but it's not of my favorites. And then I think American Gangster was like, oh man, finally. Like he came back, he gave us like that trash album, and then now he's giving us this. And I know, of course, like being a Pharrell track, it was one of my favorites of the album. So just listening to you saying like it's random, like it's not random for me at all. It, like if one of my friends in Brazil that knows that I'm a huge Pharrell fan, they know how much I love this song.
Oh wow, I didn't realize. And I guess like I probably thought it was more of a random pick. I guess just because the album itself, American Gangster, sort of, I think it's an underrated album. It flies sort of under the radar a lot of the time. It doesn't really get talked about all that much,
Yeah, true.
despite it being a pretty good album. And I'm sure I have it in my sort of Apple Music library of tens of thousands of songs, but I don't tend to hear stuff from it particularly often. So it's kind of like just I've forgotten about it over the years, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's one of those albums that Jay-Z fans really know how good it is. But I think since it's a 2007 album and a lot of good stuff was coming out that year, I think like Lil Wayne was putting out albums, 50 Cent, Kanye West. Graduation is from 2007, 2008, 2007, right?
Yeah, about then, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of good, like huge albums was coming out that year. So I think like it's just got under the radar for the general public because all this good stuff was also coming out.
Yeah. Let's do some quick numbers and stuff, and then we can talk about the video and the song a little bit more.
Okay,
So the single was released 4th of November 2007, and it was the third single from the album American Gangster, as we just mentioned. The video came out a little while later, so in February 2008, although it had leaked online a month earlier, so most people had already seen it, I think, or most fans had already seen it at that point. And I do very vaguely remember that being a thing at the time and seeing it on certain forums and stuff like that and watching it. But then I would also say it's not a mind-blowingly brilliant video. So again, I guess it didn't cause too much kind of news or controversy or anything else. Again, it just kind of slipped under the radar a little bit, but I remember being a bit of a thing.
yeah,
And if you go to YouTube, it has currently 11 million views, which is fairly respectable.
true.
And then in terms of the video itself, directed by Philip Andelman, who I didn't really know much about. I sort of recognized the name because he has done a lot of work with a lot of artists over the years, but I wasn't aware of him or his background. So I think this is something I'm probably going to dig into a little bit more at some point. But he's a director that grew up in Kenya and in Paris and in New York during his childhood, which is like quite an eclectic combination. He interned for Annie Leibovitz for a while as well. He was originally a photographer. He's released a book with the Beastie Boys over the years. He's
Oh
worked
wow.
under Joseph Kahn, who is another name, another director we've talked about on the podcast
Yeah.
previously. And he's worked with like some of the biggest names in the industry. I know he's done a lot of stuff with. I think there was like Beyonce and I think Katy Perry and Rihanna and all these kind of like really big artists. He's also done a lot of work with Lenny Kravitz over the years. I think 4 or 5 videos maybe. And then in this video, the main person, the main character in the video is played by Zoe Kravitz. So perhaps a bit of a link there. And aside from all the kind of the photography and the music videos, he also does a lot of commercial work as well. So a lot of strings to his bow, and he's done work for Target, Verizon, Warby Parker, some really big US brands. Not so much around the world, but I think most people that aren't in the US will recognize those names at least. So he's kind of got a lot of experience. And in terms of the sort of video itself, I like the concept and I like the kind of it's like a short movie almost,
True.
but I think it's one of those songs that I don't know. I think it would have been a bit better to have had the artists in the video because neither Jay Z or Pharrell, for those that haven't seen this or paid attention, don't appear in this video. It's basically focused around Zoe Kravitz and her playing sort of multiple characters and telling multiple different stories at once. But I feel like because the song has or the track has such a narrative and a story to it, which they're obviously portraying through this character, I would have liked to have seen Jay do something there and to have been involved in some way and portrayed it.
Yeah, true. When I was like watching the video early this week and also today, uh, there's this part that she's like sitting on a street, like in a street bench with some guys, and I was like, oh, did I miss that Jay-Z's around here? Like, he's one of these guys, but he is not. But I agree. I would love to see also like Jay-Z or Pharrell on the video. But I think it's one of those videos. I think it's the first video, Jay-Z video, that you can see the Kanye West influence because it's so artsy and so different from everything that Jay-Z previously done.
Yeah, it's definitely not a sort of stereotypical music video. Like I say, it is more like a short film with kind of multiple stories intertwined. And it probably would have worked if it was a 10 or 15-minute kind of short film.
True.
But the fact it's kind of squashed into what is it, 4.5 minutes or something. I feel it's too tight of a time frame to really be able to kind of tell the stories they're trying to tell and sort of show what they're trying to show. You just see snippets.
Yeah.
And when I watched it the other week, it was the first time in years that I'd seen it, and I watched it through once, and I was just like, I don't really know what's going on. It was sort of because it jumps around between four different stories, and you've kind of got to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And I obviously forgotten what the concept was and forgotten who was in it and what it was about. So I was trying to sort of piece it together and work it out, and I was just, I've got no idea what's happening here. So I had to go to the Wikipedia page and read through and go, oh yes, I understand it and get it. Now I can piece it all together.
Yeah, true. Yeah, like that was my feeling when the first time that I saw. I remember like what is going on here? That's why I think like it was kind of influenced by Kanye because it was the same feeling when I first watched Flashing Lights, the video. Remember, like
Yeah,
a 2 minutes video, and everybody was like, "What the fuck is going on? The video sucked." And then when you think about it and you see the meaning behind the video, like, oh, okay, that's dope. So I think it was the same feeling, especially at the end, like the the way that she's floating to the ceiling is kind of like to give you the feeling that she's getting super high and she's overdosing in some way. It's like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
yeah. It,
But it's one of those videos that I think aged badly because the effects is not that good. Like you can probably do those same effects on the TikToks effects that is on the app. It's so poorly.
to be fair, yes, you could probably do a lot of that kind of in your own home nowadays. Yes,
Yeah,
it doesn't look. I think it would look better if it had been shot at a slightly higher sort of quality. Because I think if you go and watch it on YouTube, it's like 720p or whatever, so it's not even like HD.
yeah.
And I think that feeds into the fact that the graphics and the kind of effects and stuff don't look amazing. I think it was of a sort of slightly clearer resolution. If they maybe remastered it or something like that, it might look a little bit better. But I get what you mean. I think the combination of the effects they're using and the kind of low resolution, yeah, means it looks like it hasn't aged well, whereas the song has.
Oh yeah, 100%. And one thing that bothered me a lot about this video is dark. It's a dark. There's no much lighting going on, but man, and I agree with you 100%. Like I would love to see like a remastered version of it with just more light on it because it can be pretty good. I mean, the concept is awesome. Of course, it goes with the concept of the song, so it will be awesome to see like a better quality of this video.
Yeah, for sure. And just to touch on something we mentioned earlier, because otherwise I'll miss it in the notes and forget about it. We talked about J and P kind of not being in the video at all. This video was the second time, only the second time that Jay-Z hasn't appeared in one of his own videos. My memory's terrible, so I don't know if there's been more after that as well. I'm sure there probably has, and people can message us and tell us. But at the time, this was
Yeah,
the only the second time he had done this. So yeah, they've obviously got a good director in. There's obviously quite a substantial budget behind it.
true.
Zoe Kravitz then probably wasn't as big a name as she is now, but she was still known. And like you say, there's a lot of effects in there. There's lots of different locations used and sets and things. So there's obviously a little bit of money gone into this, which means that they do care enough about the song and about the video for it to try and do well and to make a good video and production for it. But at the same time, Jay hasn't wanted to be involved in it for whatever reason. Now, yeah, that could just be a I don't know a scheduling reason. He may have been busy with something else at the time. I don't know, or he may have just said, "Yeah, here's a bag of cash. Go and make a nice video because I can't be bothered to do this one." Who knows?
Yeah,
But like I say, I think it ties into what I was saying earlier that I think it would have benefited from him being in it as well, and maybe utilizing that budget a little bit better and making it a little bit longer, perhaps, and really properly telling a story.
yeah, true. And I remember when he was doing like interviews, like promoting the album, he said that he wanted to do uh like I think it was two more songs, like two more videos for two songs, and he wanted to do it as a short movie. So that's why like Rock Boys is also like a short movie, and he said like, oh, it's going to be continued, but I think uh, he was like expecting the album to be more, I don't know, more successful, to sell more, and that wasn't the case, unfortunately. And I think like he just, oh, okay, we are not going to do that. But I think that's why this video also looks like a short movie, because I think he wanted to do like short movies to all of the songs,
Yeah,
and also because he was inspired by a movie, right? Like the the entire album was inspired by the American Gangster movie.
yeah. No, and that's a good point. It maybe there was the intention of doing a longer version. Maybe there is a longer version. We don't know. But they just kind of
Yeah,
maybe
true.
said, yeah, for budgetary reasons, keep it shorter, or it didn't pan out how they wanted it, and they just sort of said, fuck it, just cut it down to 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes, and we'll just put that out and sort of be done with it.
Yeah, true.
But we should probably say, because we're sort of talking loosely around the video and the concept of the video, but just as a sort of high level description, I'll read the note that I made so that I actually say it correctly. So the video depicts four different stories, of which Zoe Kravitz is involved in all of them, taking place on one night in New York City, where the main character Zoe Kravitz has a high of some kind or of some description. So one of them is as you've already mentioned, she's seems to have taken drugs while she's at home in this kind of lavish apartment, and seemingly would be getting extremely high to, like you say, maybe the point of going further than that and even overdosing. There's one where she kind of experiences the high of falling in love with somebody that she meets. There's one where she kind of experiences a high from observing the beauty of the night sky in New York. I think they're clutching at a few straws there.
True.
And then there's one which is one you would kind of expect in this scenario where she's in a club basically in New York, and you have the pulsating music, and she's kind of, I think from what I read, it's meant to be she's kind of high on life and under the influence of the beat of the music or whatever. But at the same time, I think at one point she puts her hand out, and her hand and her arm are all like psychedelic colors and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah,
maybe she's in a club and she's had something to help her,
yeah.
her high, and to experience the music in a new way. Let's say,
Like the kids do.
like the kids are doing these days. Yeah, but yeah, that's the sort of general premise. And like I said, with a 4 minute, 4.5 minute video, you've got four different stories. So it really does sort of chop and change between the stories.
Yeah,
So you've got to kind of pay attention to. what scene you're looking at now and what story that falls into. Because I'm not a music director or video director or anything, and have no skill in this whatsoever. But I would have thought if you've got a video that's that short, so you're only dedicating about a minute of screen time to each story, you would maybe do the stories in sequential order.
Yeah,
So you do one story for a minute, second story for a minute, third story for a minute, final story for a minute or so, or whatever it is. And then it kind of makes a little bit more sense. It's a bit easier to follow. But this one sort of chops and changes around a bit, which I found, yeah, a bit sort of confusing and disorientating when I first sort of watched it.
yeah, true. I agree. And I think especially for me because uh, not English not being my first language of speaking, and I remember like I had to see the video a couple of times and see the meaning behind the lyrics to really understand completely the song and the video. And of course, after I realized what it means, we're like, oh, okay, the songs became even better, and the video, of course, became even like better for me.
Yeah, and that segues nicely into the next note that I had. So that's about the track itself and what it is, and it's about the song itself is about addiction, just addiction in general. I think, and it sort of acts as and the song and the verses act as a metaphor for heroin, music, love. From what I read in some notes, that's the premise of it. I personally think the music and the love bit are a bit overstated there. And I think most of the track you could just say, yeah, it's all about heroin, basically. It's all about a horrific heroin addiction.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
true,
you know,
100%.
there are lines that kind of, allude to kind of, music and love and stuff like that. And Jay is meant to be playing, again, if you read the notes behind the song, yeah, he's meant to be playing a different kind of character in each verse. So one is he's the drug itself, then he's a hustler, then he's a lover of some kind.
Yeah.
But for me, it just reads as like it's just heroin. It's just
Yes.
that's all it really is. And obviously
Yeah,
that
true.
ties in. It ties into the movie as well. That's obviously the
Yeah, true.
inspiration of where the content has come from. But yeah, the music and love and hustler and lover play, I think, a bit part in this song. And yeah, most of it is all about putting illicit drugs into your bloodstream one way or another.
Yeah, true. And I also is also means, and I think the other character is Jay-Z itself. Like he's saying, "Oh, and Jay-Z as an artist and as a rapper, saying, "Oh, remember me? Like you should love my music, my rhymes, my raps about drugs. So I know you miss me, so here it is. Like don't forget about me."
Here's another one.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, and just hearing the all the reference and the meanings and the double meanings and the triple meanings behind the lines and the verses, are like, oh man, I don't think I ever saw someone talking about how good these lyrics are. I think it's one of the, yeah, of course. I mean, when you think about it, like you say, like, oh, it seems like a random song. Then I think a lot of people like slept on this music. But when you pay attention and when you see the notes on Genius, for example, like, wow, there's so much meaning. And I still see like and still can like catch some meaning for you, of course, because that's art, right? Like you see and you interpret the way you feel, the way you see it. And I'm like, oh man, there's so much like meaning in art behind this lyric. Like this is real poetry right here. And I think it's real, I don't know, it's kinda easy to do to especially for Jay-Z when you mix like talking about drugs and love at the same time. Like you can do a lot of reference, like you have reference for days.
Yes, there is a lot of wordplay in this, and it's done very, very well. There's been a few songs over the years where people kind of, try and use something as an analogy and they're meaning something else, talking about something else. The one I always go back to is Me and My Girlfriend by Tupac on the Machiavelli album, where,
Nice.
the girlfriend is actually, he's talking about, it's a gun.
Yeah,
He's using that analogy. And this works in, in a similar way, but this type of song can be done very, very poorly.
true.
And I can't think of any specific examples. I should have, dug into this a bit more last week when I had some time. But I have heard other songs that have tried to do similar things in the past where they've tried to use these sort of analogies and it just doesn't come off very well. The wordplay just doesn't fit, or they've picked two things that are too different, that don't have enough crossover, and they're trying to be too clever with it, and it just
Yeah,
doesn't work at all. Whereas, this song, Jay's talent, Jay's experience, his background, the beat, the kind of influence of the movie and everything as well. It just all comes together nicely and sort of fits perfectly. And it's really, really well done.
yeah, true. And one thing that I love about this song, at first, like back in 2007, 2008, it was like it was one of the songs that uh the the meaning of the song, like the double meaning, talking about love and drug, it was like I catch it like at the first listen, like, oh, okay, I understand this. And it made me feel like special about myself, like, oh no, I get this. Like I'm smart, you know? So the song made me feel special. So I think that's why it's one of my favorite Jay-Z and Pharrell collaborations. And when I started to see the meaning behind it, I'm like, oh, it's way bigger there's much more meaning than I thought. So yeah, and I get it, and I agree with you. Like this type of songs, trying to makes the analogy with love and relationships with drugs and other things can be like can be done very poorly but for our luck, Jay-Z never never is never lazy when it comes to his pen.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely not in this one.
Yeah.
And just as an example, I was looking through the lyrics the other day, and if you go on Genius, obviously it gives you all the lyrics and it gives you people's thoughts on the interpretations of it and the wordplay and stuff like that. And I thought I wanted to kind of pick some out as examples, and there were just too many. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
we could just sit here and we could read through the whole song, and every bar would have something that we would talk about, and it was just
true.
too much. So I thought, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, people, go and look at Genius, go look at the comments and the notes, read the lyrics yourself, and work it all out yourself and interpret it how you like. But there's lots of good stuff in there. The one, the one very short one I did put in the notes, just because it's a very, very obvious one, but just as an example, is the one that says, "That black rain will take away your pain. Just for one night, baby, take me in vain." It's a real obvious one. Obviously, the black
Yeah,
rain being the heroin, taking away someone's pain. And then, take just one night, baby, take me in vain. So obviously, if you're looking at the drug reference, that's, a needle in the vein. But also, if you're looking at it from that kind of, that relationship aspect, it's taking a person in vain. It's, not, I'm trying to think what the actual description of that is and the meaning of that is, but like, not respecting somebody and, using them or whatever it might be. So, yeah, that's a kind of short and obvious one, but there's lots of those
yeah. What?
throughout the song. So definitely go and read that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, yeah. The Genius Notes is a very good read, and one of my favorite. Like I don't think I have a favorite one. But one of my favorites is like cold sweats occur when I'm not with her. My present is a must. Bonita Applebaum. I gotta put. So it's one of my favorites because as a Pharrell fan, it one of those lines that was like, oh, okay, I know why Pharrell is in the background vocals because it's like Pharrell said. like a gazillion times that is one of his favorite songs. And I remember Pharrell in an interview saying that the first time, I think it was the first time that he smoked weed, he listened to Bonita Pabon for like 5 hours straight. He was with a girl in a room, and I think they supposed to make love, and I think they, I don't know, hook up for like 10 minutes, and the rest of the time, like he was like obsessing with Bonita Pabon and saying to this girl, "No, you have to understand, this is one of the best music ever." and it was pretty cool to see like, oh, that's why like is on this particular line or part of the song, because I think probably makes him think about the first time that he smoked weed is also kind of related to drugs. I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. As being a Pharrell fan and knowing this information and listen to that part of the song, like, oh, okay, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, it definitely ties in there. And you just mentioned about the reading the Genius notes and how good that is. I was just going to mention it can be good. It can be very interesting and informative. It can also be infuriating. Like whenever we kind of have to kind of do one of these songs, I always go and see what's on Genius, just in case somebody's written something on there that I wasn't aware of, or there's some credit notes or something that I want to kind of check. And some of the comments that people put as to what they think the meanings of certain things are just absolutely fucking ridiculous. So,
Exactly.
and some of the and also obviously, people have submitted those lyrics to Genius in the first place. Genius doesn't go through and transcribe everything that you feed into it. People have done that at some point, and some of the lyrics are just it's like a 10-year-old has listened to the track and doesn't know
Yeah.
half the words and has just made words up when they've tried to type up the lyrics. It's quite
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
quite clear and obvious what the lyric is, but they've just got it completely wrong. So sometimes I enjoy reading Genius, sometimes I absolutely hate it and it annoys me.
Yeah, yeah,
There's been a couple of times when I log into my account and I'm like, I'll go and correct that one and I'll add like a little note. I've only done it a couple of times because otherwise I'd be there for days just fixing
yeah.
things and saying, well, actually, did you know that in 2002, then someone did this and it means that and they did that? And yeah,
Yeah, yeah, true. Like I remember, like there's been a while since I didn't have like notifications that one of my annotations were like liked or correct or something like that. But I remember like I have like some notes on grinding, and I think like I love you. And I remember like receiving a lot of like notifications on my email, like, oh, someone like yours. Like, oh, I felt so proud of me. Like, oh, how can it be? Like, I done this on Genius. Like, I'm on Genius. And yeah, and I agree with you. Like, sometimes, like, I think also sometimes people read it too much into some basic lyrics. Like, sometimes, like,
yes,
the rapper didn't even mean everything that you're reading into. Like, so you make the rapper seem like a genius, but it's just like rhyming, you know?
no pun intended there. Yeah. I've
Yeah,
also had
exactly.
something in the past where there was some kind of comment on something and I knew it was wrong, or maybe the lyric was wrong or something. And I went to correct it and I put the explanation as to like what it actually means. And I knew I was 100% right. I can't remember specifically which one it was. And I knew I was right because I'd spoken to somebody that had worked on the track and had told me the answer. So I was like, well, actually, it's not that, it's this, and here's why. And all the idiots that reply to it were like, no, you're wrong. No, it's not that actually. I'm like, I literally spoke to somebody that worked on the fucking record. He told me.
Yeah,
I know. People are like, no, no,
yeah.
it's not. So in the end, I think I just deleted it and was like, no, fuck it. I'm not arguing with idiots on the internet. You believe
And,
whatever you want.
yeah, and I mean, and also I think what is right or wrong when it comes to music, right? Like sometimes it's just your interpretation. So how can someone like, no, no, you're wrong, it's not the fact. No, no, maybe it's my interpretation of the lyrics. So there's no right and wrong.
Unless it's me and I was 100% fucking right. Because I fucking know people that worked on it and they told me.
Yeah,
God
okay.
damn it.
Yeah, man.
And that sort of ties into another note that I had towards the end of my things here. That I read through the lyrics a few times, and I was sort of looking at the pattern of the verses and the content of them and stuff, and I was trying to work out, which metaphor was specifically linked to drugs, which was music, which was love, etc., etc. And as I say, my interpretation was a little bit different, and it was more that it's focusing on the drug side of things. And what I saw from sort of looking at it was because I think it's only three verses, isn't it? And to me, it's more of like a journey of addiction, somebody's addiction. So the first verse is kind of talking about enticing the person in, trying to get them to try something new and telling them how great it's going to be. The second verse is the person experiencing the high and having the great time, but then the realization that they are actually addicted and they potentially have a problem. And then the third verse was around giving it up and getting it sort of out of their life and getting over the addiction, but then it also trying to kind of pull them back in.
Yeah.
And that's also what I noticed with the hook as well. So obviously the hook is Pharrell repeating kind of, and I know, and I know, and I know. But there's those bits in between where it's, I know what you like, I know what you. And that's almost like the drug talking to somebody that's trying to give up an addiction. It's like, you like me, you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
me, I know what you want, I know what you need, I know what you like. And it's like nagging in their brain constantly, trying to kind of pull them back in. And I was speaking to somebody recently who has had addiction problems in the past. And I was talking about this, and they were saying that's like exactly what it's like when you get clean. When you're getting it out of your system, that drug is like a voice in the back of your head constantly saying, you want me, you can find me, or I can find you, and we can have a good time again. And it's just
yeah.
constantly never stopping in your head.
True.
And that's what I get from the hook, where it's that kind of repetitiveness and that almost like nagging, like, I know what you like, come back to me. This is
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
should be.
yeah. And about the hook, one thing that I think for me, this song is personal for a lot of reasons. And but the hook, personally, I always makes me think about the song "Ain't No Sunshine" when sorry, I forgot the name of the singer, but whatever. So there's a part of the song that he's like, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. So in the song, if I remember correctly, it's like the song talks about missing things that sometimes not too good for you. So I always think about maybe, and it's one of the question, one of the gazillion questions that I want to do if I met Pharrell personally and had the time to ask the questions, if that song is one of the inspirations, because it kind of talks about the same thing, like missing something that sometimes is not that good for you. And Sunshine kind of talks about the same thing.
Let's hope you never get to sit down with him
Yeah.
in the nicest possible way. Yeah, Farrell, here is my list of 200 questions of every lyric I've ever wondered about. Let's go
Yeah.
through them one by one.
And what is frustrating about questions about old songs when it comes to asking Pharrell or even Cher. Like I was watching an interview that Cher did, I think was like 5 years ago. I think with Rosenberg from Hot 97, and Rosenberg, like, he used to work with them, and he's like a super Neptunes fan. So he was like asking like very specific questions, like questions that fans like, of the Neptunes wanted to know about. And Shad was like, yeah, 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 like, but no, bro, like really pay attention to the question and really like answer it, like try to remember. And Chad was just like all over the place, like not answering correctly, and just like, oh. And I think with Pharrell sometimes happens the same thing. Like people ask like something very specific about a song, and of course they did like a zillion songs, so they don't even remember anymore.
Don't
So they,
remember, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So Pharrell, as he always so polite about this, so he always try to to give like some generic answer. So yeah, one of the things that I afraid the most is like having the opportunity to ask a question about an old song and just not having the answer that I wanted.
That's the problem, yes. Because I'm sure, like you say, they've done a million songs. You don't remember everything. A lot of the time,
Yeah,
you're sat in a studio and you literally just make shit up on the spot because it just sounds right or it just fits into a pocket you're trying to fill. You know, a word rhymes with another word, and you're like, "Yep, put that in. Sounds good." It doesn't even have a meaning. It just fit and sounded nice, you know? And I
yeah,
think, yeah, when people ask those sort of questions, it's like, one, yeah, they might not remember, and two, there just isn't the answer that people want behind it. A lot of the time, it is just like,
true.
doesn't have a meaning. We just made it up on the spot, but they can't say that, or they don't want to say that and let the person down who was really hoping there was some genius idea behind it.
True.
So they're just like, oh, okay, it was yeah, and you've got to answer around it and give that kind of political answer that doesn't actually really answer anything at all.
Yeah, exactly. Like, have you seen the video of Damon Albarn showing the how did he did the beat for Clint Eastwood? It's like it
Yeah,
was a
with Zane
preset
Lowe.
for
Yeah,
so disappointing, man.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember watching that interview. Is a few years old now, isn't it? I think.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
I remember that as well, and it's like a really old, crappy looking keyboard with like 10 presets on it or something. And he's just like, yeah, preset number 4, play, and it plays the beat.
yeah, yeah,
And it's like, that's the whole beat. And he's like, oh, and then there's another random sound number 7, and that's the fill that's on the beat as well. And you're like, that's the whole fucking song right there.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You think it's like it's come together in a studio with lots of amazing musicians that they are in Gorillas. And no, it's just like
yeah.
90% just a preset and a sound on a shitty keyboard that they just went, "Oh, that sounds quite cool. Put it on." Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, like I remember people like so disappointed on the comment sessions, and I was like, "Oh, you have to think about like," and I don't know if you remember, but the concept behind Gorillas was like, "Oh, we wanted to do uh like um like a molded band like they do with boy bands. Like it's like anti-commercial, and they wanted to do just for do it, just to mock the industry, and became this huge success. So it makes sense that he did that incredible beat this way because he just wanted to, you know, like mock the industry. Like he didn't put like so much work into it.
While you're saying that, I'm just going to make a note in our document about that video, and then I'll try and put a link in the show notes because if you haven't seen it before, it's a really interesting watch and it's quite funny
Yeah.
because it is literally just press the button. It's like do 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 do. So that's the whole song. Fuck.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there's a perfect segue for this because I don't know if you know this, but the a part of the drum pattern of I Know is also a preset.
Okay.
And yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I think it's Fruity Loops, the software, but I'm not sure. But I remember back in the day when Ryan Leslie used the same pattern on a song that he put out on his second album. I think it was in the same era, like 2008. I think the album is called Transition. I think it's 2009, the album, and the name of the song is When We Dance. When you listen to it, you're gonna hear it. Like it's not even he didn't even try to hide it.
That's another note I'm taking to go and check.
Yeah, yeah, it's insane. So I remember like a year after when I heard the song Ryan's song, I was like, oh, it's the same drums. and I started to look up in Google, and I remember I found it on a comment section on YouTube or maybe something like that, and people were like, "Oh, this is a drum pattern for Fruity Loops or uh, a beat software, or something like that."
It just shows the even the most basic stuff that you get in some of this kind of music software and within instruments and synthesizers.
Yeah, true.
You don't have to kind of take it, splice it, cut it up, change it a million different ways. Sometimes, yeah, just the basic thing works.
Yeah, true.
There's a guy I follow on YouTube, and I can't remember his name. He's an Australian guy, and he's a music producer, and he remakes like the beats of like famous songs that are out at the time. And he'll like spend a month or whatever researching the song, reading all the articles about it, trying to reach out to people that worked on it, and he'll try and find all the original sounds that were used, and then he'll replicate all the work they did to that sound. And sometimes there's like, one, I don't know, one snare, and it's gone through like 50 different changes and been messed around with and changed and adapted and tweaked and all this. And a lot of that is with more of the more modern producers that are trying to make things sound a bit sort of different and a bit sort of out there. But firstly, his stuff's really good. So if you're interested in how things are produced and kind of replicating those things and the process that goes into them, then follow him. Again, I'll try and put a link in the show notes if I remember,
Yeah,
to his
please.
YouTube channel. But it also goes to show that, yeah, like if you're that good of a producer, you don't have to do all that messing around.
Mm.
You can take a basic preset and still turn it into what is a very good beat.
Yeah,
And in theory, like Gorilla is a massive, massive song that everybody knows.
yeah, exactly. True. Yeah, and goes back to when we were talking about grinding. Like it's such a simple. It's not that simple of a beat, but it's just like eight or nine elements. But the Neptunes were the first one to put all those elements together on that pattern. So that's that's why it's so great.
For sure.
One thing that I put in on my notes here, no, just because I think was 4 years or 5 years ago, Zoe Kravitz she started in a show that is called High Fidelity. I don't know if you ever watch it. If you don't, like, do it. It's pretty good, and it is inspired by the movie of the same name, and the series. Uh, she talks about like her exes and her breakups, and they talk a lot about music on the series because she works on a record store. So all the time that I think it's like 6 or 7 episodes, and I was like, when she is going to do a reference to I know, because it will be perfect for her to talk about or to do a little gift for us, just because it kind of evolves on the same subject, like talking about a lover or ex-lover or and talking about music, but she didn't, and I was so disappointed, man, when I finished. Like the series is awesome, it's pretty good, but I was so disappointed at the end of it. Oh man, she missed it, like the perfect opportunity to talk about that song for at least for and I watched it twice just to see, like, did I miss it? Like she might like put something in there,
Yeah.
and yeah, she didn't. And also it was like I think the one of the producers is Questlove, and that I think that's why it's a very good show, because when they talk about music, like, it's very well put, and have all this reference with pop culture also. So it's pretty good, man. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, maybe they didn't have the writers with the necessary knowledge to put it in there. But if you've got Questlove involved, then yeah, he is an encyclopedia of every piece of music ever made. So
Yeah, true.
it may have got bought up. It's one of those things where they may have even done something, it just ended up getting cut or whatever.
Yeah, true.
Because I don't know if there would be that many watchers of that TV show that would know she's in a music video for a
Oh
song
yeah.
that wasn't a massive song, you know?
Yeah, yeah, true. But I mean, since she was one of the executive producers, I was like just hoping that she would put something about it, but it's okay. I think one day I will be like, I will let go. The my heart was hurt about this.
Don't let go. Get on Instagram, DM her, ask her,
Oh yeah, true, man.
find out. Find
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
You may get the answer you were hoping for.
Yeah.
She may say, "Oh yes, we did do something actually, but
Oh man, I
the
would
world
die.
never got to see it." And
I will freak out just because she answered me. Because she's arguably one of the most beautiful women alive.
Anyway, let's not start down that road.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
get to some news.
Let's
We did
go.
well. I prepared it. I can't even speak now. Prepared a lot of this stuff over a week ago, so some of it's kind of out of date and it's already happened, but we can still
Yeah,
talk about it anyway. So we are talking about Jay Z, and there is actually a new Jay Z book that came out a couple of weeks ago. The Book of Hove. It is a
yeah,
tribute to Jay Z. It, I think, includes lots of pictures and never seen before stuff and lots of stories and all that kind of thing. And believe it has the blessing of Jay Z and Rock Nation and all that. I think people from the company have worked on it as well. So if you are a Jay Z fan, you can go and get that. Now there are two versions of the book. There is the kind of normal version that you and I might buy, and I'm gonna have to click on the link because I can't remember the specific details. It is $125
Jesus.
with free worldwide shipping. So okay, it's a coffee table book, $125, probably actually quite cheap for a coffee table book. So yeah, that's something I'll probably pick up at some point. It looks nice.
Yeah,
But then
true.
there is also a special edition version. Now I'm just trying to see if there's a link on the page here to it or whether I need to go find it elsewhere. No, it's elsewhere, but there'll be a link in the show notes. But there is a special edition coffee table version of this book. That one is $3,000.
Oh man.
So when you old manned at $125, that was nothing, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. But what what the version of the
What?
book? Yeah, yeah, no. I mean, it's a lot of money. So what that book came like? What is the special thing about the this other version?
Right. So there is the ultimate version. Oh, sorry, mistaken. It's $2,073.
It's still a lot.
Yeah. So this one comes in, I like the wording of this, nestled in a luxurious clamshell presentation case. This visually stunning volume features 432 pages with over 675 illustrations. So it comes with a special case. It looks a bit nicer. Doesn't really say what else comes with it. Oh, you do get complimentary white gloves and a signature canvas tote bag included with this one.
Okay.
So if you don't want people getting their greasy, horrible fingers all over it, you can make them put on the fancy white gloves.
Oh Jesus.
Now, I imagine, yeah, this comes with like the extra case thing. I imagine the cover of the book is probably made with a nicer material. It's probably, more heavyweight paper. Okay, so I have just noticed on the cheaper version, the weight of the book is about 2 kilograms. The weight of the ultimate edition is 9 kilograms. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, and by the looks of it as well, from the images, it's also a lot larger. It's blown up into almost like the size of a large newspaper, I would say. So yeah, it's bigger in size, it's higher quality, it's better paper, all that kind of thing. It's a real high end kind of coffee table book.
Okay.
But in terms of the
Not for
content,
me
I think
yet.
no, and same here. Yeah, in terms of the content, though, I think both of them are the same.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to put that on your Christmas list, if you don't want to go crazy, there's a $125 version. If you have a loved one that really, really does love you, then you can ask for the $2,000 version. On to
Yeah,
some Pharrell news. Pharrell, unsurprisingly, has been busy the last sort of few
yeah,
weeks. One thing I did notice, he was at the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris that burnt down, partially burnt down. Was it 4 or 5 years ago
yeah,
now, something like that?
yes,
They've kind of redone it all, reopened it. He performed there with his choir. What are they called? Voices of Fire or something, aren't they? Is that what
yeah,
it is?
exactly.
Yeah, and they did Joy, which I actually really really like as a song, very underrated.
Yeah, me too.
And then he did Happy. I'm sure that wasn't his choice to do Happy.
Yeah,
I'm sure somebody sort of said like, "Can you do this one? It's
yeah.
a bit more upbeat and a bit more cheerful, and we're celebrating." I think he's kind of said in a number of interviews over the years he's a little bit fed up of that song and a bit sick of it.
I
So
mean,
you
isn't
will after,
everybody?
yeah, exactly, yes. And being the person that wrote it and having to have performed it about 10,000 times,
Yeah, true.
yes, I can imagine it's probably not top of his list when he goes and
Yeah.
does events. But he performed
And
that. You can go.
it get worse because he lip synced the song. So it was like,
Yes, he
oh
was
my
lip sync.
God,
Yeah. To be fair,
Jesus.
no, but I'll give him that one. It's like
Yeah, true.
inside. Part of it was inside a cathedral. If you're not confident with your voice, which we know he isn't, you don't want to be doing it in a cathedral and having all of those acoustics and being able to hear everything you do.
Yeah,
And if
true.
anything goes wrong, everyone hears it and it's
Yeah.
amplified. And then, like, yeah, Happy, he's probably like, look, I've done this 10,000 times. You don't need me or want me to actually sing this, do you? And I think for that one, they moved outside of the cathedral. So again, it's out in the open. It doesn't need him singing really. So I think I'd let him off that one.
Yeah, true.
I'll put a kind of short video from YouTube in the show notes if you haven't seen it. There's a little bit of like behind the scenes stuff there. Also, we were going to say you could bid on a Richard Mille watch signed by Pharrell via the Jupiter auction platform. That was running up until last week, so it has actually ended already. I don't know if any of our listeners are wealthy enough to have gone and bid on it. The starting price was 320,000 US dollars, but it did sell supposedly. They haven't announced how much it sold for, and I don't think, from what I saw on the platform, normally on Jupiter it shows you all of the bids that are happening kind of live, but it wasn't doing that with this one. And also there was like additional verification needed. If you wanted to bid, you had to like
Wow.
send them documentation to prove you could afford it and all that sort of thing. So I think they've kept the bidding and the final price under wraps. It hasn't been announced yet, but you could have bid on it, and the page is still up on Jupiter if you want to go check it out. But yeah, it was starting at $320,000. So, well, I was going to say you'd imagine it would go for 500,000 or something. But the fact that they haven't released what the final price was makes me think that maybe it didn't sell for quite as much as they were hoping.
Oh, that's why.
Possibly.
Because I was thinking I was thinking like, oh, maybe like someone bought it for insane amount of money and they didn't want to put it out just because I don't know. But yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, because I think with like an auction site like that, by default, I think they retain the rights to kind of advertise that they've sold certain items, and they obviously do a lot of marketing for Jupiter and all the products and collaborations they're doing. So they would definitely have wanted to, like, if someone paid 2 million for it, they would definitely have wanted to say somebody paid 2 million for it, to show how successful it was and to
Oh yeah, true.
build up the platform and all that. But yeah, the fact they haven't said it makes me think that maybe it wasn't as popular as they hoped. And also, I did notice as part of that, you get the watch and it shows it is signed on the back, but I don't think it's actually personally signed.
Oh
I think it's his signature, but it's just etched or like lasered into
yeah.
like the kind of crystal sapphire back. So it's not actually signed by him. And then also as part of it, Richard Mille agreed that the person that was the winning bidder could go to one of their special events. somewhere around the world. So maybe it might be a new watch launch or something like that. But what I did read in the small print is Richard Mille will extend an invite to the person that wins the bid. I think they could bring a guest as well. But it was like Richard Mille will not cover the cost of travel to the event. They will not cover the cost of hotels or accommodation at the event. They will not cover the cost of any transportation to or from the event. So it's literally, to be fair, if you're
Oh
paying over
man,
300 grand for a watch, you can probably afford to travel around the world and get where you
true.
need to go. But the fact that they're just like, we're desperately trying to auction this item, we're going to bring you to like a special event, but like, we're not covering no costs. We're not involved in any of that. It seemed a bit tight. You would think they would say, like,
Yeah,
if the event's in Europe, we'll pay for a flight in Europe. If it's in the US, we'll pay for a flight in the US, or we'll pay for a couple of nights in a nice hotel or something. But they were just like, no, you can have a ticket to the event. If you can't get there, it's on you, basically. Tough luck.
yeah, it's one of those cases of rich people shit. That's
Yeah,
why
very
like
much so. Yeah.
that's yeah, it's one of the cases that like Balenciaga when they put out the woman bag that was like designed as a trash bag, and people were paying like thousands of dollars for it. Like, oh man, so stupid.
And that's the yeah, I'm sure if you've got the money to bid on that watch, you're not reading the small print and going, "Oh, but they're not going to pay for my hotel room." Oh, well, I'm not bidding on this $500,000 watch now then. Oh,
Yes, so I'm going to have to Airbnb to the place. Like, what the fuck? No,
yeah.
they're not going to do that.
Yeah, if you can spend 500,000 on a watch, and yeah, I'm sure when they say to you, "Here's a ticket to the event," you could be like, "Oh yeah, I'll pay for my own private flight, and I can afford to spend a few $100 on a hotel room for the night."
Yeah,
But if you were the lucky bidder of that and you want to get in touch, then yeah, feel free. Let us know.
yeah.
Also on Jupiter, J Balvin currently has a collection, including a lot of Virgil era Louis Vuitton, which was interesting to see. Also, a huge amount of jewelry that he's had made in collaboration, I think, with Ben Baller, who was the one that did it, and Takashi Murakami. There's a loads of really cool stuff on there,
True, man.
going for some very very high prices. There was a pair of Khaled Jordans, the blue pair, and I think the starting bid was like 40,000 or something.
Wow. Dang.
And I don't know if they're dead stock. I didn't read it properly, but from the one image I saw, the toe box looked like it was kind of pointing up very slightly, so it looked like they'd been worn.
Yeah, of course.
So 40 grand for a pair of used Jordans, like wow. I know the
Yeah,
Khaled's
man.
like they have Grail status in the kind of sneaker and Jordan community and the
Yeah.
various different colorways, but that's a lot. So yeah, more rich people shit.
Yeah, true. But I mean, when it comes to sneakers, we also have to think about how we can also be an investment.
Mhm.
Like they're going to pay a price now, but maybe in 5 years, it's going to be double the price.
I think at the lower end of the market, yes, but I think when you're paying 40 grand for a pair, like really in 5 or 10 years time are we going to be sitting there still going like, "Oh, DJ Khaled and those Jordans, yeah, amazing. They're worth 50, 60, 70 grand." Like I don't think so.
Yeah, 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 true.
I think it's more of one of those things, yeah, you buy them to say you have them. You're one of only,
Oh, yeah.
probably 5 people in the world that has a pair. There's you, Khaled, Jay-Z, because he always sends pairs to Jay-Z, a couple other people maybe that he works with, and that's it. So you've got a
Yeah.
super rare item, and it's more of a bragging kind of thing, I think. But again, more mega rich people shit. You can just drop
Yeah.
40 grand on a pair of sneakers just to say you've got them.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the culture.
Well, for some people, yeah. But for the people that have the money, yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of Takashi Murakami, in the coming weeks, so during January 2025, He has a new collection coming out with Louis Vuitton, obviously now being done kind of in collaboration with Pharrell, referencing the 20th anniversary of his last sort of big collaboration with them. It's effectively the same pattern, but with some slightly different designs and products and stuff like that. I really, really like them. I think it's. I've seen mixed things from people so far. Some people saying like, "Oh, well, the Pharrell stuff isn't working, so they're having to bring back like the Murakami collaboration to try and boost sales or whatever." I don't think that's the case. I think the Pharrell stuff is selling very, very well from what I see and
It
what I hear from
is.
people. I think this is more just around the fact that it is a 20th anniversary. Pharrell has obviously a relationship with Takashi Murakami anyway. They know each other, they're friends, they've worked on various things in the past. It's just a nice thing to do.
True.
And it's a very, very popular design. There'll be very popular products. I did notice that like none of them can be pre-ordered. So that says to me they're going to be limited kind of quantity and they're going to be very, very sought after and very popular and will sell out immediately, probably to like VIP customers.
100%. Yeah, I saw the same like the same comments saying like people saying they love it and people saying like, oh man, like why they have to bring that back? It's like a rerun. And but one thing that got me a little surprised because every time that we think about Pharrell and the things that he did in the past, he always saying like, "Oh no, I don't like to be stuck. I always like to look forward, to look to the future, to doing new things." And what I'm seeing with him in Louis Vuitton is like he's coming back with a lot of things. So I always makes me think about what is really going on. Like, is really his decision to do that, or is just like, oh, maybe it's because Pharrell is famous for being a collaborator with brands just to sell, because it was the case with Adidas. Like Kanye was in Adidas to, I don't know, to the marketing part, just to I don't know, to the marketing of the brand, and Pharrell was there to sell because the stuff that Pharrell was doing with Adidas was selling a lot. And when you think about the Yeezys, they were not selling, they were not giving like so much money for Adidas as the Pharrell stuff. And maybe is the case with Pharrell and Louis Vuitton. Like a lot of people, it's just saying because the design is not like groundbreaking as the Virgils, but it's still selling a lot.
Yeah. And I think with the Murakami stuff, that's not something that's in Pharrell's hands. That's,
Yeah,
he's the creative director, but he doesn't dictate what Louis Vuitton sell and what they don't and who they work with and who they don't, even if it is a menswear collection. I would imagine a company like Louis Vuitton doing a collaboration this big on such an iconic collection from 20 years ago, they've probably been planning it for years. And
true.
it's not him that's planning it, it's other people that work specifically on collaborations and anniversaries and stuff like that. And they will have, I'm sure they will have gone to him to get his blessing and make sure that nothing that his team are working on kind of crosses over or looks anything like it or anything like that. But yeah, it would have been very much out of his hands. But yeah, like you say, in terms of his work at Louis Vuitton, yeah, one, it's selling well, and two, there is that part to it where he is going back and referencing older pieces from other brands, including his own. We've seen even stuff from
True.
old BBC days, early 2000s, sort of being referenced. I like that because we know he doesn't do it that often.
True.
We know he doesn't tend to look backwards. But I think when it comes to fashion, there has to be inspiration and you have to reference things in larger collections. You can't, I don't think, no matter how good his team is of designers, I don't think there's any way they could create a whole new collection for a brand like Louis Vuitton, hundreds of items in a collection, and not reference anything from the past,
Yeah,
you
true.
know? So
I
I
mean,
think it's,
it's impossible for any clothing brand,
yeah,
or it's impossible. There's no way.
it's, yeah, it's to be expected. I think the surprise is that maybe he's referenced some things quite so heavily, like the Princess Anne Letterman jacket that he had. Like that was almost identical to like ones that they had in the past.
Mhm.
So I think that surprised a lot of people that he was referencing them that closely. But I like it. I like the
Oh
fact he's
yeah,
doing
me
that and he's
too.
tying those things in. And so far, from what I've seen from his collections, they look great. I did see the other day, and I didn't put it in the notes. I completely forgot about it. They have announced the date for the next show. It's January something. I just want to check my other notes app that I may have saved it to. No, obviously I didn't. Of course I didn't. But no, it's January at some point. The new collection is coming.
Yeah,
So keep your eyes peeled for that, and we'll probably talk about it nearer the time.
yeah. And also, like, since we're talking about Pharrell at Louis Vuitton, like, and also I think it was like a week ago or a couple of weeks ago, I think it was GQ magazine that announcing him as a designer of the year. And I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, there's no way, like he was not that great. That there's a lot of designers that was better than him," and everybody talking about like his work at Louis Vuitton. And I mean, I don't give a lot of attention to the Louis Vuitton stuff because I mean I like fashion, but when it comes to the high brands, I always like put myself away a little bit. I'm paying a little bit of more attention to Louis Vuitton because obviously Pharrell's in there, but not that much because it kind of bothers me a lot when people are asking like brands are asking like so much money for a piece of clothing. But okay, that's just my opinion. But the thing that bothers me a lot when people starting to criticizing Pharrell's work at Louis Vuitton and saying like, oh, it's not good enough, it's not like Virgil's. It's like I have to think about like uh, Louis Vuitton is not trying to make money with clothes. Like they make money. They're how is especially like the main car of the brand is the luggage. So that's the focus. That's where they make more money. So every time that people starting to criticize, saying, "Oh, it's not that good," like it's not the focus of Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton is probably pretty happy with Pharrell because he's selling a lot, but he's putting a lot of focus on the luggage because the luggage that he was doing, especially that one that cost $1 million for a bag, it was like that, right? Like $1 million for a Louis Vuitton bag with a lot of like golden details and everything, and it sells a lot, and it was not that exclusive. I think there's a lot of numbers of that bag for available. And I'm like, pay attention, people. Like they are not trying to impress you with this clothes. Like they are just trying to make money with this luggage. And it was always the focus of Louis Vuitton, and probably always will be.
It's funny because I saw him say in a brief interview last week or the week before, he was talking about Louis Vuitton, and yeah, he referred to them as a travel company, not a clothing company or a boutique or anything else. He said, "I something along the lines of I love working for a travel company," and I think,
See?
and I'd never really thought about it in that way. Obviously, I know they do a lot of luggage and bags, and that's what we see a lot of. But you do also notice that in the collections they put out, there is a lot of holiday type wear. There's a lot of like in the not in the last collection where it was all kind of Midwest cowboy type stuff, but maybe the one before that or the one before that. They had all like the Hawaiian shirts, the silk shorts, the slides, all that kind of stuff you would put on a summer's day if you're on holiday at the beach somewhere. And then obviously they do a lot of ski stuff as well. Obviously, rich people ski. They go to the beach and they ski. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can. It was interesting to see it that way, and I sort of look at the Louis Vuitton stuff, and obviously I'm not in the market to buy any of the clothes really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to, but I don't have that kind of money. But like one thing I've been looking for recently is like a good passport cover, like a nice passport cover to kind of put on my passport. be able to put in my pocket, and a completely pointless thing, but just something I thought I would like.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's a passport cover. You use a passport to travel. It's all these little accessories and stuff like that. Yeah. So that was an
Yeah,
interesting
exactly.
tidbit that I noticed recently, and yeah, and certainly ties into what you were saying as well. Looking back as well, because I think we talked about this on the last show. Like, I really love that Louis Vuitton cologne, and I think I'm going to just. It's horrifically expensive for me, but I'm going to try and just keep buying that. Use it sparingly and keep buying it because I really love it. But I was looking at some of the marketing on their website for a lot of their colognes, and if you look at like the imagery they use for the vast majority of them, it's all sunny backdrops, beaches, boats. It's that whole like summery holiday lifestyle type thing.
Yeah.
It's not you're spraying it on because you're going on a date or you're going to an important meeting or you're trying to impress somebody. It's about the sort of destination you're going to and the destination you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really interesting. And yeah, I noticed that. So I'm going to try and sort of view things from that perspective a little bit more now with their stuff as well, and see if we can pick up any other interesting stuff.
Yeah, true. Nice.
All right, next, speaking of Pharrell and looking back on things, again, I might have mentioned this in the last episode, I can't remember. In My Mind had a limited edition vinyl release via Interscope Records a couple of weeks ago. I think when we last mentioned it, it was kind of coming soon, but you can now buy it. I got a copy. It eventually turned up earlier this week, I think.
Nice.
For the price of it, I think it's part of Interscope's like monthly vinyl subscription thing. So you have to sign up to it. You pay for a month, and as part of that month, this month, December, it's the Pharrell in My Mind thing. They allow you to buy it or order it. And then each month there's new things they add in that you can order as part of your package or your subscription. There were only 3,000 available. So I got in there straight away and ordered one. And I know quite a few other people that did as well.
Yeah.
I'm just looking now to see if it's still available. It does seem to be, but it is limited to like one per customer. But I think I
Yeah.
paid like $50 or something.
Yeah,
And then
it's
the ship,
58, right?
yeah, something like that. And then the shipping, I think, was included, if I remember rightly. So
I
for
don't think
for
so
the
because
price,
when you send me I don't know, I don't know why, but when you send me the link, like I immediately click on it and when I was about to buy it, like the shipping was like $45 dollars, and I was like,
oh
oh,
man,
okay,
I'm going to try and
I'm not
find mine
gonna
because
do
I
it.
remember it not being that expensive. Hold on, let me try and search my emails and find my order that I placed because I would like to now actually see what it was. Okay, so yeah, shipping was free for me.
What?
So the whole thing cost me $72. So there was $58 for the actual monthly subscription for the item. And then obviously, because I'm importing from outside of the EU, there was $14 worth of taxes added on. But yeah, shipping was free.
Okay, but what is the?
I know. Here you go. I know what you've done. When you go on the page, there are two options to sign up. There's a US sign up and an international sign up. I reckon you
Mm,
probably went to the US one, maybe.
oh, okay,
Yeah, try it on the internet on the page. Click on the international link and try and check
okay,
it that way because it might work out a little bit cheaper then.
okay. I will try it. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, for that sort of price, like I say, sort of $70, $80 in my case, excellent value. It looks amazing. The pressing seems to be really, high quality. I really like the colors they've used. You get like a sort of lithograph print in there as well from around that time, which looks really nice. And also, I put this on, I think it was like an Instagram story, so some people may have seen it. Even on the inside of the lining of the sort of packaging of the vinyl, it's kind of printed on the inside with the kind of Pharrell sort of Bape character. Obviously, most records you buy, they have the printing on the outside and everything. They don't go to the trouble of printing inside the sleeve where the record actually goes. There's just normally a plain cardboard or a plain color. But yeah, they've done some printing in there as well. So a really good attention to detail and if you're a fan, yeah, it looks like there's still some available. So I recommend having a look and getting hold of one. So like I say, it's one per customer, and there were only 3,000 made, I think. And also, if you are just you're into music in general, or you kind of like me, just like collecting physical versions of things that you enjoy, such as music. I've noticed since signing up, they've got a really good back catalogue of kind of limited edition pieces. And I think coming out next week, it might be, or in the next couple of weeks, there's another anniversary collection for Dr. Dre's 2001.
Oh,
So it comes in a special cover, which has got loads of kind of weed buds kind of printed all over it. And then the whole thing comes in like a Ziploc bag as well. So
nice.
yeah, really cool. So I think I might end up ordering one of those as well. And there's a few in their back catalogue that I really like the look of as well. Some of my favorite albums in there. So I'd recommend checking out their collections. And you can do what I did, which is you just sign up and purchase one item, and then that's it. You don't have to keep paying every month for anything if you don't want to. You just register as a user, and then because you're a user, you can just turn the subscription kind of on and off and just order what you want when you want, basically. They also give lots of other deals. I think if you're a member, you get first, you're able to order first with certain special items. I think they offer free shipping on certain items. You get discounts on apparel and stuff like that as well, which they've got quite a lot of good stuff as well on the Interscope website. So, yeah, so check that out. And then the last bit of news I had, again, this was going to be a coming soon, but it actually happened today. And that's the Nego Nike Air Force 3 that we've been talking about for probably a few months now, or a couple of months at least. The
Nice.
new version, was it called Baroque Brown or whatever the color was? That was released this morning, and also a re up of the original white version that I know we briefly mentioned on the last episode of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to try and get a pair. I set a reminder in the sneakers app. They got released at 10 a.m. my time. My first meeting of the day started at 10 a.m. I forgot. I
Uh,
got out of the meeting. I looked at my phone. There was a notification. I was like, oh, shit. So I went on there. There were only two sizes available. There were nothing near my size. So they were gone.
oh man.
And then I
But
set a
wait,
reminder.
at what time did you
So it was 10
wake up?
o'clock this morning.
10 o'clock. No, because for me it was available at 9 a.m.
You're an hour behind me, aren't
But
you?
but yeah. Oh, okay.
So yeah,
True.
same time, but you're
Yeah.
an hour's time
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
And it was available for I mean for almost an hour. If I knew, man.
Yeah, I got on there about 40 minutes later, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was like size, I think 35, 36, 37 left. That's all there was.
Yeah.
But then the hour later, they did the drop of the white version.
Exactly.
So again, I was like, I don't wear white sneakers, but I could be interested in getting a pair just for the sake of getting a pair. Again, I went to a meeting, or I think I went and made some lunch or something, came back, looked at my phone, gone again. I was like, oh, fuck.
The white ones I try to cop them because I remember when I think we talk about this when I saw the photos I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this look like doesn't look that special, but when I saw in person I was like, oh, this look good. I wanted to try to cop them, but I took a nail. I got the Raisa's dunks for Juliana though, so that was
Oh, I
good.
saw, yeah, are they the ones you posted somewhere?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It wasn't for me. It was for Juliana. Juliana wanted for a very long time. I was already like looking for it on StockX and with resellers for so if I can get it for a good price. But it was a special one to just to get it for retail price.
Yeah, they were nice as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping we see some more Nego stuff with Nike.
Oh yeah, we're definitely
Even
going
the
to.
Air Force 3, like the Air Force 3, I was never really a massive fan of. But I think what he's done with them, yeah, it's kind of reinvention of them. I've quite liked it. I've liked the whole kind of campaign behind it all as well, like the little videos they're
Oh yes,
producing and all that. They look really cool.
true.
I think that I think if it didn't have all of that behind it and it wasn't Nego, I wouldn't be interested in them.
Yeah.
But because it's him and it's got all that kind of, that marketing behind it, which they've done really well, that's kind of enticed me into it. And the new ones, like the brown ones, the more I looked at them, the nicer they look. So they've got that fake like horsehair on them, which I always like the look of because I've got a pair of the old pony hair BBC Stan Smiths they did.
Hmm.
I love the look, but what I find is if you brush up against that horsehair, it always comes out really easy. And with the
Oh.
BBC Stan Smiths I've got, when I come home, I've only worn them twice, I think. I take my shoes off by putting one heel of my shoe onto like the heel of the other shoe and kind of pulling it off. But you can see on the back of both of them, there's like a little bald spot now where all the hairs kind of come out.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
fuck. So yeah, that's annoying. And I don't know. Obviously, they may be sort of better made on the Air Force threes and stuff, and they're not in such a sort of location like that. But that looked really good. And then I really loved the look of the kind of terry cloth material they use on the inside of the lining on the ankle.
True.
It looked
Yeah,
like so soft and comfortable.
it looks. Yeah, about it was it's strange. Like for me as a sneakerhead, sometimes I always come across with sneakers like this. Like I don't particularly like how it looks, but I love the details. And I
Hmm.
think this one, the details are pretty cool, man.
Yeah, and I think yeah, when you tie it into the marketing, and then this one was like a Planet of the Apes inspired thing, and you can kind of see all the colors and how it ties in with like the graphics they've used in the artwork and all that. It just comes together really nicely. And again, if it wasn't Planet of the Apes inspired, there was, a story wasn't behind it. It wasn't Nego. It didn't have the marketing behind it. I'd probably look at them and just go, "Mm, it's a silhouette I don't like. It's in a color I'm not a fan of. It's you know,
Yeah,
but they've done it so well and pieced all the different bits together so well that it is very, very appealing. And I really hope they do some more colorways because I will definitely try to get hold of a pair because they seem to be getting nicer and nicer.
yeah, true. Yeah, I'm also looking forward to see what which colorways they're going to use next and what details they're going to put on. And maybe he going to put some details or put a different direction on other silhouettes. Let's see. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to see him get some different silhouettes and try
Yeah,
different
true.
things. I don't know how these are selling. I assume well, obviously we saw today they're selling out quite quickly. So
Yeah.
but we don't know what quantities they're making. But they seem to be popular. If you have one thing I should mention, I mentioned saw this week. If you wanted to get hold of the apparel, excuse me, the apparel, so like the hoodies and the sweatshirts and stuff, this week some of them went on sale on the Victor Victor website.
Oh,
So obviously they were all sold out previously, but Stephen Victor yeah released some new Victor Victor gear, some new jackets and hoodies and stuff. But if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, as part of that release, there's also some Nego stuff there as well.
nice.
Yeah, like I say, some of the crew neck sweatshirts and maybe some hoodies. So you can also check out that if you've been sort of after one and missed out when they first came out.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out because I remember seeing some of the colorways of the hoodies. Like there were some interesting ones.
Yeah, they were like really nice. Like there's the red, the yellow, and green ones I really liked.
Yeah.
And obviously they're really simple. They've just got obviously the tick on the front and yeah, it says Nego. Or if you're in China, what does it say? It says Nego backwards because he doesn't have the rights for the name. Brilliant. Yeah, so it's very simplistic, but the colors, yeah, really nice. Yeah, I tried to get hold of one, but yeah, it was too late, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's hope for more Nego Nike stuff in the future. And then one other final thing to mention: new BBC EU Classic collection came out. I want to say end of last week or start of this week with an advertising campaign with UK legend gigs. Lots of quite nice bits in there. You can go to the website. Again, there'll be a link in the show notes, but it's basically slash collections slash classics, and it's just all their kind of classic designs. So there's a new range which has a small kind of patch on them. Then there's like the curve logo collection, the straight logo collection, bunch of other bits and pieces in there as well. If you're after some BBC EU stuff, but you're not really into the the flashy colors, the kind of slightly more louder designs, you just want some kind of premium basic type items, then yeah, I recommend you go check out the classics collection because there is a very wide selection in there, lots of different colorways, lots of different designs. And I think come the new year, I'll probably order a couple of bits off of there as well. There's some nice things on there.
Yeah, true. I was kind of surprised that they they did this collection because I mean this type of collection, right? That they put like the sweatshirt with sweatpants and same color. It's like a kit collection
Yeah.
that you purchase everything. It was like super popular like 5 years ago for almost like 3 years, and it was kind of surprising that they are still doing that. But of course, I think it still works. It still sells a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people, you don't see it so much, out and about nowadays, but I think a lot of people, myself included, would potentially buy the hoodie with the matching sweatpants just to wear around the house.
Yeah.
And you don't have to wear them together. Obviously, wear them with other things. So yeah, it gives you the option to buy the individual pieces if you just want that, if it's a certain color that you like or a certain style that you like. But like you say, also you can kind of buy the collection, as it were. You can get the hoodie with the matching sweatpants, with the matching t-shirt, with the matching socks, with the matching whatever else they've got on there, and kind of have a whole collection built up, which
Yeah.
you can wear out. You can put with other things. You can lounge in basically. So it gives you lots of options. Yeah, and I like these. They are simple, straightforward pieces. Yeah, they're nice. And like I say, come January, maybe if there's a sale on at BBC, I might try and get hold of a couple of bits.
Nice.
They're these kind of premium classic type things that are just nice to sort of wear around the house and relax in, and especially in the winter now.
Yeah, true.
Cool. Well, that was all we had. Is there anything else that you've got, Rafa?
No, man, that was it.
Cool. We've gone through everything. We will now be away for our Christmas holidays. I think our next scheduled episode was meant to be Christmas Eve or something. So I think we need to reschedule that one slightly. But
Yeah, true.
we'll be back at some point soon once we work out where we are in the world and what dates we're around and stuff like that. But hopefully once we get Christmas out of the way and once I get back from a holiday at New Year, we'll be able to get back on it and get recording. So it won't be too long of a wait for the next episode.
Yeah, true. Let's see.
Cool.
Hope you soon.
Yes. We'll wrap it up there. Everyone out there, have a great Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, have a great sort of holiday season. Hope you get lots of nice presents. Hope Santa brings you all the things that was, on your list, whether that's BBC, Adidas, Louis Vuitton, whatever your budget is. I hope you get it all. And we will speak to you in the new year. So thank you, everybody, and bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Happy Christmas. Bye.